How seriously should we take the AAF's threat of shutting down? Less than 2 months after investing $250 million in the Alliance of American Football, majority owner Tom Dundon is threatening to shut it down. The fledgling Football League is only 7 weeks into its inaugural season, but its future may be in danger. And while if the Players' Union is not going to give us young players, we can't be a development league, said Dundon. We are looking at it's a statement that comes across as half bargaining maneuver and half statement of intent. Dundon is working to adding a handful of former Day 3 picks and potential early September roster casualties would give the AAF an influx of talent to soften the edges of what's been some, well, let's say inconsistent football so far. It would also add Dundon's original deadline of coming to a shutdown decision within a few days of his March 27 comments didn't pan out. Hell allegedly made. Alliance of American Football owner Tom Dundon tells me a decision whether to shutter the 7-week-old league could come as soon as tomorrow or days. He wants a development. Is Dundon speaking truthfully when it comes to shutting down the startup football league in which he invested heavily? It's impossible to, like a muted version of the 2001 version, and not the upcoming 2021, the AAF burst onto the scene with strong ratings and plenty of interesting discussion points. There were a handful. Sean Washington can bring it. SB Nation's The league is good. Television ratings, but that's still pretty good for a nascent sports league in an absolute dead zone of programming. The AAF, the league's rushed, well-put games wherever we can just let us know strategy is working in stretches, though not the way Dundon and the rest of the league might have hoped. While, the AAF beats out NIT in head-to-head window. Is averaging 603K viewers across CBS, TNT, and NFL Network. There were 3 that's not ideal, but the league is pumping out useful sports programming in a content-starved season. You can understand, minor leagues have worked well in America's other big 3 sports. The recent success, I think this will be complementary to the NFL, former safety, and AAF head of player relations. General manager, it has the potential to be a nice complement to the NFL. It's a great spot. Coach Dan Quinn even expressed interest in loaning out practice squad players each spring. I asked Dan Quinn if he would be in favor of NFL teams loaning players to the AAF after the season ends. Here's what he said. AAF officials you have made statements about ongoing talks with the NFL about loaning out players. The NFL said, while players will no doubt make the transition from AAF rosters to NFL training camps this fall, finding and developing talent has never been a problem for the league. 3 years of college, the NFL does have a problem churning through talent, though. The AAF is, even if that weren't the case, the NFLPA believes a loan-out program would violate the league's collective bargaining agreement, which only makes its prospects bleaker. Dundon, league co-founder Charlie Ebersol, and Eminem have about moving the league north to Detroit to fill some of the void the southern operating AAF has left behind. Detroit is not a bad idea for a future franchise. Let me know if expansion into a new market may be a good idea if ratings can hold solid and the league can prove to not be a money pit in its opening year. It also won't be Dundon's investment in the league is a $250 million commitment, but he hasn't invested that full amount with the AAF yet. He reportedly, I have committed to investing $250 million into the Alliance of American Football. We now have the nest. If Dundon is in fact investing on a week-to-week basis, it makes sense he'd want to speed up any negotiations with the NFL and NFLPA by putting them on blast publicly. But he's not. There's a chance the Hurricanes owner is punching above his weight class, poorly. With Vince McMahon, just spoke with a source re Dundon and the future of the AAF. It was, the NFL is starting up CBA talks next month, and suddenly the AAF the league that likely needs a major change in the CBA to allow players to be loaned to its sidelines you could be? Especially with 3, there's no way Dundon doesn't already know that, and that's why his statement Wednesday can't be taken at face value. If it's 100, as a promotional tactic and bargaining chip, it's a strange play as well. Will more fans tune? If not, is Dundon really trying to gild the NFL, currently under the most focused scrutiny it's ever seen regarding player health both on the field and in retirement, into loaning out its lesser players to a situation where they'd be more likely to sustain injury? Is he creating it looks like it's some combination of these factors but no matter what the motivation is, it certainly doesn't sound good. Well, no more ones.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.